Welcome to another edition of RelationShift. So glad you could join me today. Today, I want to share with you on testimonies of relationships. Testimonies of relationships. Because relationship most of the time happen to be a gateway to breakthrough for a lot of people. So a lot of people tell testimonies, and we have read stories of testimonies around how God used relationships to change people's lives. And so I want to talk to you or share with you a few testimonies of what relationship does in people's lives. Number one, you've heard the story of the man in the Bible called David and Jonathan. Jonathan was the son of the reigning king, King Saul. But Jonathan was the one who was supposed to be king after his father. And that is what his father is planning, that his son will succeed him. But then the relation between David and Jonathan was such that Jonathan was rooting for his friend David to become the next king. That relationship birthed favor and protection for David. A number of times David should have died, but it was Jonathan who was always hinting him about how his dad was planning to kill him. He received protection, he became king because of a relationship. So relationship can bring protection to your life. Relationship can bring favor to your life. Another story also in the Bible is the story of Ruth and Naomi. And I must say, everyone will require a root in their life. Not just some people, everybody will require someone who is a root in their life. Someone that, in the Yoruba culture, somebody they will say abokoku. Someone who sticks to you so much, even to death. That kind of loyalty that they are with you for a long time. They support you, they wait with you. It doesn't matter the circumstance. Naomi had a husband, had two boys. They were in this foreign land. Naomi's husband died. His two sons died also. They had wives and they had no children. And then the woman was relocating back to where she came from, to her country. And one of the daughters-in-laws, whose name was Ruth, was bent on following her to that place that she's going. She followed Naomi, but then the story did not end in the fact that he followed Naomi to where she was going. But that when she got there, she came in contact with a family member of the Naomi's. And that was how they fell in love. And then she came into a lineage called the lineage of Jesus. Ruth came into Jesus' lineage through Boaz, the man who is a family member of Naomi's husband. Relationship. She got favored, she got direction, she hit her destiny because she met Boaz. Relationships, if you find a loyal person, it will take you very far. A person who is loyal to you will unlock generational blessings for you because they are loyal. Another example is the story of Peter and Jesus. Have you thought about it that we would not have heard about Peter at all if not for the fact that he met Jesus? The relationship he shared with Jesus changed his own story from being just a fisherman to being a fisher of men, and then he became leaders of other people. A man who was uneducated, a man who was at first not known much, became a man we generally talk about to today because he came in contact with Jesus. So divine relationship don't just open doors, they can also change who you become. Just like Peter's life was changed from just being a fisherman to becoming fisher of men and a leader. His life was transformed. Another story in the Bible is the story of Mordecai and Esther. Mordecai happened to be the person who raised Esther. Esther was kind of less privileged, like an orphan, but raised by Mordecai. If not for this relationship that Esther had with Mordecai, she would not have become the queen that we come to know about. Her name would not have been in the scripture as someone who has a book of the scripture written in her name. But she had a family member who took interest in her, who told her, go and compete. The king is looking for a queen. Go compete. Maybe if she doesn't have someone who will have told her that kind of information or who will have given her that encouragement. And of course, when she got to the palace, she also met the man who is in charge of the people who is going to prepare the woman on behalf of the king. She got favor in the eyes of that man. The man told her the formula. These are things I feel like the king likes. If you can do these things and all of that. Of course, the end of the story. She was the chosen woman eventually. Relationships. Relationships. So you could also have mentors who help you position your life for divine timing, divine purpose for your life. They'll tell you what to do at a particular time of your life. You do those things, you see results in your life. Number 5, I heard the story of this Christian man who came to church, and in church he talked to someone about a business idea, and the person said, oh, this thing would go very far. Why don't you do it this way and don't you do this way? And that was it. He did that business and his story changed. He came out well. It came out so well. And the man became a billionaire eventually because he got counsel from someone. Also, there's a story of another church member who listened, who took literally the words of his pastor, always acting on whatever the man says. And that planted her life. She started writing books based on what the pastor says. She started motivating based on what the pastor says. And she became an influencer. So when God places the right voices in your life, they awaken the dormant part of your destiny. But you must be intentional. You must be intentional about relationships. You must know that relationships are critical to your life. Very important. This story, they remind us that relationships are not just for comfort. They are carriers of purpose. So you must be sensitive to the people that God sends to your life. I hope this has blessed you, because I'm trusting God that your own testimony will be next. You'll find someone that will come into your life. If you are intentional about bringing them into your space, your life will change and you have a different story. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you next week.